Welcome back to another video on the boat project. Today's video is all about automatic bilge pump installation. Bilge pumps, I had never even heard of a bilge pump when I bought this boat. You got to remember, I've never owned a boat before. So after a bit of Googling, I realised basically it's just a 12-volt ejector pump should she take on water when she's either on the mooring or out at sea. Now they come in two types. You get automatic bilge pumps or manuals. I've gone for a Seaflo setup. Essentially I've gone for the three-way switch and the bilge pump as shown. And basically today what we're going to do is we're going to install it. I'm going to talk you through the wiring, putting the through hole in, show you the hose I'm using, see what else comes. Hope you're enjoying the boat series, but let's get to it. I showed the wiring just back at the house before I've come down here, so let's get to that. So you'll see it comes stock with 3 connections, 3 wires. They're about 1 meter long, so depending on where you have your switch, you may need to extend those. So we got the black wire, which is the ground or negative. That's pretty simple. And you've got the white and brown wire here, which is the manual mode, so you'll see that on the switch. And then you've got the brown wire, which is the automatic mode, so when the float switch is activated, that engages. There is a case that goes on the bottom of this, but I've put that in the boat. These are the connections. You can see there the ground also has another connection, which is for running back to either a negative bus bar or the battery. I will show everything with a 12-volt battery shortly. Okay, so I've connected all the wires now from the bilge pump to the switch. Just got to connect to the battery, so here's a further look. So we've got the brown wire, which is the automatic connection to the switch. At the top connection, which corresponds with the auto on the switch. You can see that the lighting's not great. And then we have the manual mode, which is obviously the brown and white wire going into the spring-loaded part of the switch. And then all that remains to do is for me to connect the power to the battery and then the ground or negative to the battery here, which I'll do now. So what you'll see is when you hit auto, you'll see a green LED, and then when the bilge pump detects water, and then it turns off. So when it's not on auto mode, that won't do anything, and then you can go to manual override mode. You see a red LED light appear. I will be extending these wires and I'll show all the connections because I want this up at the console. I don't want it at the back of the boat. So there we go. I'll put any dimensions of this here up on the screen now so you can see the sizes. But let's get down to the boat and we'll do a little bit more once we get down there. Looking at the console, I'm going to put my bilge pump switch here. Cut round a touch more, let's see if she fits. Fantastic. So you saw me cut this out earlier on. What I've done, if you haven't seen the last videos, I've fully rewired the boat. So if you haven't seen that, go back to that video. But for now, I'm going to get back to this. As you can see, I've extended the cables so I can run the bilge pump front to the back of the boat. Okay, so I've extended all the wiring, as you can see. I've got to tidy it up yet, but you can see it runs all the way to the back. This is my conduit I have been using, but I'm going to replace it. That's part of my previous wire job. All jobs to tidy up. So this unit is completely separate from this switch panel, and it only uses the fuse panel for an earth. So there we go, she's on. I've used blue wiring for all of my bilge pump stuff, just easily identifiable should I need to troubleshoot, and I'll label that up separately. One of the more nervous jobs I found was putting a through hole through the back of the boat. It just doesn't sit right drilling holes in a boat. So I found where I wanted it, just to the next of the auxiliary bracket at a good height. I've checked the head of pressure from the ejector pump and it could cope with this no problem. So I masking taped it up just so the core drill doesn't slip. Use a 25mm core drill and just got to work. You know what, I went through the fiberglass body a dream. No issues, straight through. Quick check just to make sure that the The hole was sufficient size, which I knew it would be. It was good. Just assembled the hose onto the through hole. I did have to warm the hose up to get it on. Some warm water did the job for that. Just checked the Jubilee clip went on, which it did, no problem. But obviously I needed to take that off to put it through the hole. So just pushed it in. And once it was in, I got the Silcoflex 291i, which is marine grade sealant silicon, it's the best stuff I've seen anyway. And yeah, was that on. Looked a bit rough initially, but soon got it sorted. Smoothed it off. As you can see, in the bilge area, my fuel tanks go here. Still to clean a bit. That's been screwed in, and in the screw I use the Silcoflex just to give it some sealant, so that's not ever going anywhere. What I would like to do is, I've still got to run the hose through this hole. I've just been testing it at the moment, but the 19mm hose is on. The Jubilee clip is looking good. The wiring, as you've seen, has been extended into the blue wiring, which is, I think, 18 gauge marine grade wiring. My plan in the future, by the way, is to add a second bilge pump here. Just double the capabilities, because it doesn't really add any weight and it doesn't take much more away. But the switch for that will be kept down this end on a separate battery, so it'll be a completely separate system. So that clicks back into here. So that's where that lives. I've got cable management stuff to run the cabling all up here. I'm not going to bore you with that. You can see I've yet to put the Jubilee clip on this side, but in here, that's where it fastens up to the back of the boat. You saw me drill that earlier. Got to do the old bucket test. Make sure all my connections are solid. Okay, so a quick hose check. We've got the iPhone directed at the bilge pump outlet. I've got that sitting in the water with bucket. Let's do it. Switch is all installed and in place. Need to put a couple more screws in, but you get the picture. So let's put the manual mode on. Let's go and see what happens. So if that's working right now, which it sounds like it is, let's empty that bucket fairly quickly. Okay, there we go. Switch off. Bilge pump installed. Tidy up all the wiring at another date. As you can see, I've got two Warriors side by side here in the harbour. This is Laxey Harbour. We're low tide at the moment, but I'm hoping my slot is going to be along here somewhere, and we'll have it moored off. Then all I need to do is, when the tide's right, pull it in, jump on, spin off, and we can crack on with our adventures. Thanks for joining me. Like I say, I've got loads to do on the boat, and I'm an absolute novice, so if I can do it, anybody can. Not saying there's not better ways to do things, but these are the ways I'm doing. So thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you guys on the next boat video, or if you're one of my hardcore subscribers, on a wild camp that I've got planned next week. It's going to be a good one. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys.